guys, welcome back to my channel. I am Britt, and if you haven't subscribed yet, you probably should, because I talk about geeky things, and today we're doing another episode review of Power Rangers Beast Morphers. So I hope you guys enjoy. So this is Beast Morphers Season 2, Episode 17, Goin Ape. If you guys want to skip the full episode recap, you guys can click this timestamp right here or hit the chapters below, and I'll see you guys at my thoughts. So it opens on Ravi kind of sitting on a park bench, and an old lady comes and sits next to him, and he shows off this painting that he did for Roxy for their anniversary. It is then he finds out that Roxy is waiting for him, so he leaves. The little lady that is just so impressed by his artwork and so impressed that he would make such a wonderful gift for his girlfriend. And he ends up leaving the gift on the park bench, and then he gets into a taxi and heads over to where Roxy is. The little lady realizes what happened. She's trying to stop him. He doesn't stop. She realizes that his number is on top of the portfolio, and so she decides to contact him. Ravi meets Roxy, and Ben and Betty are there, because why wouldn't they be? At least they have such a very limited piece to this episode, so I'm actually kind of okay. But yeah, so Ravi and Roxy are celebrating their anniversary. Ben and Betty come by as kind of fancy waiters. They put down a tablecloth, they put down rose petals and a candle, they light the candle, and Roxy gives Ravi the gift that she got for him, which is a very cheap looking bracelet, if I'm being completely honest with you, that says Ravi and Roxy forever. Very meaningful gift, very beautiful gift, but they made such a big deal out about it that it was kind of silly. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. It's still a very thoughtful gift, and it's always the thought that counts, so it's not that, it doesn't matter. Anyway, moving on. It is then that Ravi has to tell Roxy that, well, shoot, I don't actually have your gift with me. So Roxy's a little weirded out by that. He goes to go and get stuff like smoothies or whatever, and that's when his phone kind of goes off crazy texting. He's texting a girl named Stacy about a painting. Now, as an audience member, we obviously know that this Stacy must be the old lady that he met while waiting for his taxi, but obviously, Roxy thinks something completely different. Roxy confronts Ravi. They kind of get into a fight. Ravi is very frustrated that Roxy doesn't believe him and doesn't trust him. Roxy's obviously very torn because she thinks that he's cheating, and so Ravi decides to leave. We go to Evox's lair, where Evox is being kind of a jerk to his people, as he always is because he's the villain. And Roxy, Robo-Roxy, we're gonna have to separate the real Roxy from Robo-Roxy in all of these, because you know what? They're both in it. So Robo-Roxy is adamant that she can destroy the Rangers with her newfound power, this flower power that she got in the previous episode, and that she's stronger than any of the Rangers. So Evox says, fine, go destroy one then. So Roxy decides to go and destroy Ravi. Smash ends up coming up to Ravi, and they're kind of walking along this beach together when all of a sudden Roxy shows up and decides to, Robo-Roxy shows up and decides to try and attack. Ravi tells Smash to go find the others, and so Ravi then morphs and starts to fight Roxy. He's hit with this weird wave of energy, and after being hit by that wave, he's not quite the same. The others end up joining him. He ends up attacking them, which was very strange. He's also smoking, and I'm pretty sure, because it looked like Sentai footage, it's kind of hard to tell for me these days, but also the sand looked different from the civilian portion to the morphed portion, so I'm guessing all of this is Sentai footage. And so I understand that the steam is coming off of the Sentai Blue Ranger, but I'm still frustrated with how they wrote that in, and I'm sure it has something to do with the Sentai of how they wrote it in, but we'll talk about it in a little bit. But turns out Ravi is overheating. So being overheated means that he is going to attack the other Rangers. So Devin goes to fight Roxy, Robo-Roxy, and the others are just basically trying to stop Ravi from killing them. It is finally then that Zoe decides to take matters into her own hands to cool him off by grabbing him and jumping off of a cliff with him into the ocean to try and cool him off, because that's the only way to cool something off that's smoking, is throw fire on it. That doesn't work. Throw water on it. Fire is not a good option, actually, if you're trying to cool something off. So Roxy ends up leaving, and the others are essentially just trying to see if Ravi's okay. Ravi is still heated, so he's still very frustrated and still acting kind of like a jerk. Roxy comes to talk with him, and he's obviously still very upset about their fight, and he's also still heated, so he's kind of a jerk to her, and saying that the only thing he wants to hear from her right now is "I'm sorry," because she doesn't trust him and all this stuff. The other Rangers obviously had no idea that they had this fight. Only Smash knew, and Smash is the one that went to go get her, and she got frustrated because Smash said he was ready to talk when clearly he wasn't ready to talk. And so he ends up taking the bracelet off and essentially kind of breaks up with Roxy, the real Roxy, and storms off. It is then that the actual Stacy walks into Grid Battle Force because security is great there, I guess. And they're just let anybody walk into the lab, but it's fine. She was with security, so it's fine. But still, I think it's a little strange to just have civilians, even escorted, go into the lab where the Rangers are doing things. Anyway, Roxy realizes her huge mistake and kind of puts her foot in her mouth, and realizes that it wasn't that Ravi was cheating on her, it was that he lost the gift and this Stacy had it for her, and she got to see the painting that he did for the two of them, or of the two of them for her, and she just felt terrible, as well she should. The others all go after Ravi after realizing that the reason he got so overheated during all of this was because of the fight with Roxy, the real Roxy, not the fake one, not the Robo-Roxy. That helped. That overheated him completely. That they went to go find him and save him essentially again from himself. The Robo-Roxy insists that the reason she lost was because the others came to save Ravi. So she said if they were distracted, then maybe she would have won. So Evox tells Blaze to go with her this time to stop the other Rangers from getting to Roxy. So they go and they come across Ravi in a forest, and they decide to attack. He kind of attacks back without even morphing, just pulls out his laser gun and just... And so then they morph, and he morphs, and Roxy goes and fights him. Blaze kind of goes off and hides to stand guard. The other Rangers figure out where he is. They all go to help him to fight, and then Blaze sends Tronics to stop the Rangers just as planned. There is this very high level fight that is happening between Ravi and Roxy, as well as Blaze, the Tronics, and the other Rangers. Zoe ends up getting away to go and try and get Ravi to come back to reality, and then he ends up shooting at her. Nate ends up saving her, and then Ravi and Robo-Roxy fall into the river. They end up washing upstream a little bit, or downstream a little bit, and they continue their fight. Eventually Ravi ends up defeating Robo-Roxy again, and that's where the morphing portion of the episode ends. So there is no real Zord fight in this particular episode, which is interesting. I don't necessarily hate that. I don't necessarily love that. Just, it's fine. They bring Ravi back to the base. They're holding him back because he's just so much of a terrible person now, because he's so overheated and so angry at the real Roxy. Then the real Roxy is there, and she tries to apologize to Ravi for not trusting him and saying that she met the real Stacy. She met Stacy, and she was given the gift, and she loves the gift, and she basically loves him, and that finally cools him off, and everything is well again for Ravi and Roxy, as well as the other Rangers. For the final shot, Ben and Betty come running in with a Gatorade jug of water to throw at him because they think that will cool him off, when, you know, jumping into the ocean and the river in this episode didn't help at all. So, because, you know, Ben and Betty had to do something funny fine. Let's just leave it at that. So there you go. That's how the episode ends. That is where we start the thoughts process. Overall, I thought the episode was actually pretty decent in the sense of the acting was pretty good. There were a few moments where I felt like the acting became a little melodramatic, but that's fine. In a storyline like this, and we'll talk about the storyline, in a storyline like this, you're gonna have melodramatic acting. It just kind of exists. It just kind of happens. So I can't really fault it too much on that accord. Let's just be honest. I can't really fault it too much on that accord. I gotta say, I love whenever I get to see the real Roxy and the real Blaze in episodes. We don't see them enough. I feel like these characters are so underutilized. They were going to be Power Rangers. Why aren't they more involved? And it could have been a budgetary issue. It could have been the fact that, you know, you have to pay people a certain amount of money per character, and technically it's 2 characters. And I know how it works in the voiceover world, but I'm not 100% sure how the pricing actually works in the realm of that kind of show. Just because I've never worked in that kind of show before. So it's hard to say what the budgetary purposes for that are, but I feel like these characters are super underutilized. Blaze was going to be the Red Ranger, Roxy was going to be the Yellow Ranger. Like, how are they not more utilized? Like, it just doesn't make any sense to me, but it's always good to see them in these episodes. There was a massive, like, focus on the civilian story. I love that. That's something that I've always really liked about Beast Morphers in general. It's something that I've never really brought up a ton that I really do genuinely like about Beast Morphers is the fact that there is this huge focus on the civilian story. In a lot of other Power Ranger seasons, we have a civilian story, but it's really a B story, but like it feels like the civilian story in Power Rangers is the A story, and then the morphed story, the actual Ranger story, is the B story, which I genuinely like because I like character development, and it's really hard to character develop when you are just sticking them in their suits and fighting all the time, or sticking them in Zords and fighting all the time. So I do really like the fact that this was so focused on that story, focused on the characters and who they are as people, and not just who they are as Power Rangers. So I didn't even miss the Zords, really. We got to see Zoe's Zord, but that was about it. And that was just such a throwaway thing of just pulling them out of the ocean. So, you know, I think that it was really nice just to have a story that was really about them as people. I just really like that. So one of the things I really liked about Time Force, is one of the things I really loved about SPD, is just the fact that there was this massive just focus on the characters and not necessarily who they are as Rangers. Okay, let's talk about the things that I wasn't the biggest fan of. So I wasn't the biggest fan of the overheated thing. So I think there could have been so much better writing when it came to that. I feel like overheated was just because the character was steaming. We've had characters steaming before, like the Crimson Ranger in Ninja Storm. Obviously that also came from the Sentai and Hurricaneger, and they did edit that quite a bit because that was not very kid friendly according to standards and practices here in the United States. So they did have to edit that from the Sentai pretty heavily, but this I feel like was probably extremely edited. I don't know because I've never seen Go Busters. Those of you who've seen the Sentai can probably, without spoiling anything, express yes or no, this was extremely edited or this wasn't very edited at all. I gotta think it was, because he's overheating. That just, there's no reason for him to become evil essentially whilst overheating. Like it's silly. It's just silly, and I feel like it was just a little too much. I feel like there could have been a better story there. There was some kind of spell on him that they had to, like, you know, had to pull off of him, and had to do with that laser blast, which was why he was smoking at the time. There could have been so much more written there. Couple of things that just don't make sense for me. The B-Spots are supposed to stay in the base, but yet Smash is just kind of wandering out all by himself, meeting Ravi at a beach. That just didn't make any sense to me. I didn't love that. I also didn't love that, you know, the Rangers went running with Cruz to this forest across town, very clearly across town. That didn't raise any red flags, right? Because you've seen Cruz with the Rangers, you're seeing these kids with the Rangers. Just some things like that. Eye line issues when they are running through the forest and you hear Steel go, "Do you see them?" And they're clearly right in front of them in a not super wooded part of the forest. Just some things really nitpicky things that I would have noticed as a continuity person, as a director, as a producer, things that I would have noticed to been like, hey, this doesn't work. So as much as I enjoyed the episode overall, like it wasn't great, it wasn't terrible, it was just kind of middle of the road, how most episodes are for me, really. The story itself was pretty melodramatic, which is why I was saying that the acting was pretty good, minus a couple of moments that were pretty melodramatic, but in a story like this, you expect it. Because this type of story is super melodramatic, the misunderstanding of whether or not the boyfriend or the girlfriend or the partner in general is cheating. And I don't know, it just feels overused, it feels melodramatic, and it's just not one of my favorite things in the entire world. I like more creative storylines. I don't feel like this was super creative, led right into melodrama, which just for me, I'm not a big fan of melodrama. I never have been. I've played with melodrama. I've seen One Tree Hill. I've watched Seventh Heaven, but I generally don't love melodrama, and this just felt very melodramatic for me. So there you go. All right, there you guys have it. That's my thoughts on Power Rangers Beast Morphers. Let me know in the comments below what you guys thought about this episode. Did you like it? Did you not like it? What did you like? What didn't you like? And I'll see you guys all next time. If you guys want to see my last Beast Morphers video, you guys can click right here. If you guys want to see all the Beast Morphers videos I've ever done, you can go and click right here. You can click here to subscribe. If you do, hit the bell for notifications so you don't miss any of my videos. I make videos every single Thursday and every single Monday when there is a Beast Morphers episode. If you guys want to see the vlog that I am editing that I'm filming right now, go and click right here. If you don't see a vlog and you just see it the normal way you see it, that is because I can't edit a video from my phone anymore. Not on my phone, but I can't transfer it to my computer because my computer is being really stupid. I'll see you guys all next time. Bye.